Yo, fancy community, welcome to Proper Things, the FPL show brought to you by the ttfplproleague. It's your boy Michael back again with episode 13 of season 2. And we back after a 1 week hiatus due to me having a little procedure done. So, unfortunately, we couldn't get last game week's episode out in time. But we back this week as I'm off the IR and ready to go. For all the fantasy fanatics, all the FPL players, all the football watchers out there, the fans of the game, we're going straight down till 2025 because there's no more international breaks, no more hiatuses. It's football every weekend, sometimes during midweek as well. So it's going to be a hectic time. It's going to be a fun time. But that being said, game week 12 looks to be a game week that there's a lot of points on show, a lot of tasty matchups, big teams versus the lesser fancy teams. So we expect goals galore. Hopefully that prediction comes true. So without further ado, let's get into this week's episode and see how my team did in Game Week 11. So looking back at Game Week 11, we had a great week as we got a massive green arrow from the 1.1 million range up now into the 650k range. So we ranking looking juicy now. We finally have that 6-figure ranking and hoping to climb up into 5, 4, and so on. And looking at the points, we could see that a 72-point game week with a -4, so a 68-point game week was pretty good ceiling for game week 11. Unfortunately, that the struggles continue for Flecken in goal, a 1-pointer. Brentford just seems to be getting in shootouts and there seems to be no clean sheets. So it's 0 and 11 for Flecken in the clean sheet department this season. In defense, Makalenko came through with the 6 points. Gabriel and Arsenal continue to struggle in the defense, a 2-pointer, and Value with a 1-pointer. City getting blown out in the last game week with another L to make it 4 on the trot in all competitions. So not smooth sailing for my boys. And Bueno got an assist for 5 points on the game week. A massive game week for the new arrival in Bruno Fernandes, 17 points. A goal, 2 assists, bonuses. So great showing there from Bruno. Mo Salah continued his hot form with 14 points. Semenyo a 2-pointer, Wood a 2-pointer. So Wood finally cooling. Cunha came up trumps with a 12-pointer. And then, of course, Captain Haaland a 5-point double. So the 72-point game week, 68 after the hit, was a great showing, but we missed one. As I say, we dropped one in the slips as going into the game week. The hit was meant to bring in Salah and Bruno when Palmer had to make way, unfortunately, to get this across the line. And the plan was to put the armband on Salah, but last minute I shifted it into Haaland, so we dropped some points there. But so goes the points. So this week we hoping to make back up some more ground on the leaders. Now I'll be looking at the red flags in my team. And when you have a 0 and 11 record when it comes to keeping clean sheets this season, you definitely have to land on this list. However, Mark Flecken does play Everton this game week and has Southampton in the next 2. So he will be surviving in the near future. So Mark Flecken living a charmed life in my team. But he has to land on this list. Definitely looking to bring in a new keeper in game week 14. So Mark Flecken is officially on a 2 game week contract. In defense now, Makalenko has come in and done a spectacular job, kept a clean sheet last game week and justifying that $4.3 million price tag. But with an addition being ironed up in the defense, he looks to be the weakest link in my defense. I'll be keeping Gabriel because Arsenal's fixtures are about to turn green, so I'll definitely want some Arsenal cover, and Value seems to be not keeping the clean sheets, but rewarding owners with the attacking return. So we're trying to ride that hot hand for City. As a little spoiler alert, he may be the only sky blue asset in my team. So definitely keeping Vardio for the near future as well. So that leaves Konza and Makalenko as the 2 guys that can make way. And with Makalenko's fixtures about to tighten up and get very difficult, I think he's the guy to make way. So simply on the difficulty of his fixtures, Makalenko lands on this list. In midfield, I am happy with my 5 midfielders, but the no Palmer is a alpha and omega level threat. because you're looking at Chelsea's upcoming fixture list and start with Leicester in game week 12, you definitely need to have him. So more on that later, but no Palmer is the red flag in midfield. And finally in attack, Erling Haaland lands on this list simply because of his price versus the points he's been delivering, and with funds needed to bring in Cole Palmer, this might be the only route into getting the Iceman. So Haaland lands on the list due to his price and the points he's been delivering for that price tag. And now we are looking at the solutions to those red flags. And for those who have the goalkeeping conundrum, the two best budget keepers, well, outside the premium keepers, are Sanchez and Pope for me. So those who are looking to bring in a keeper for a little less money than the premium options, you could look into Sanchez and Pope. So we're kicking things off with defense, and the guy that I'm eyeing up for weeks now. I've been eyeing him since the $4.4 million price tag. Now he's 4.7 is right now. He's been surviving the massive fall. He has scored and he has kept a clean sheet, but they haven't combined yet to give the double-digit return. But it is coming, I fear. So definitely keep an eye on him. And Wolves have great fixtures now until Boxing Day. So December 26th game week. So from now till Boxing Day, you could be playing Ryan Alnuri and have a cool and calm demeanor. So definitely have to bring him in sooner or later before the cutoff point becomes too late to bring him in. In midfield, the guy who would make waves some menu, and like I said, it will have to be for Cole Palmer. I think you need to bring in Cole Palmer. Semenyo is not a problem, but Cole Palmer has to come in. I've made up my mind that he has to come in. And that brings us now to the forward department and how to bring in Cole Palmer. Unfortunately, bringing in Cole Palmer will result in me having to get rid of Erling Haaland. So we are looking at the best replacements, or the guy who could bring the most value to our team outside of having Big Erling, aka the Light Blue Master. So I have 5 names here, 3 names more on the expensive side, and of course 2 budget replacements. So kicking things off for me is number 1 pick being Nico Jackson from Chelsea, coming at 7.9 million. The green flags for Jackson is definitely his form this season and the fixtures for Chelsea, as the next 8 for Chelsea is Leicester, Aston Villa, Southampton, Tottenham, Brentford, Fulham, and Ipswich. So you're hearing those 8 games and you're thinking that there is no way, once you know Jackson is playing, you're going to bench him due to the difficulty of the fixtures. So you're getting 8 good fixtures on Jackson. The red flag, however, is that pending 5th yellow card, which will result in a suspension. So that is the only little issue there with Jackson, because if he gets a yellow card, he'll definitely have to sit. So that is where your bench will come into play. And that is especially important when we look at the number 2 pick in Alexander Isak of Newcastle, coming at 8.5 million. And his next fixture list, well, his upcoming fixtures sound like this, with West Ham, Crystal Palace, Liverpool being a red fixture, but then Brentford, Leicester, Ipswich, Villa, and of course United to round out the next 8. Looking at it on paper, I would still prefer Jackson's fixture list compared to Isak, but Isak is on penalties and he's the talisman for Newcastle. And we're already seeing a rush for him, as he's already risen in price from 8.3 to 8.5 at the time of recording on Monday. So a lot of managers are already flocking to the Swedish striker. So it's going to be Jackson versus Isak, but right now I'm leaning towards Jackson simply because of his form and because of his fixtures. I think they're slightly better, and Chelsea have a greater attack than Newcastle. And if it's not Palmer stinging you, I believe the goals are going to come from Jackson. It's highly likely that one or the other is going to score. So the Palmer-Jackson double up looks to be very fruitful going into the festive season. Another player that's going on in the radar, and a lot of players are souring on him, is Kai Havertz, coming in at 8 million. So these 3 players, 8.5 for Isak, 7.9 for Jackson, and 8 for Kai. And Kai's next 8 sound like Forest, West Ham United, Fulham, Everton, Crystal Palace, Ipswich, Brentford. I know that a lot of people are souring on Kai Havertz, but now we have to remember that Martin Odegaard is back, and he is the creative hub for Arsenal. And when he was playing, Kai Havertz was looking like a man reborn since from last season coming into the early parts of this season. We know Odegaard is back. He's going to be playing for Arsenal. Kai Havertz looks to be number 9 going forward. So I expect that goals will return to this Arsenal squad, and it's highly likely that Kai Havertz is going to be involved in it. For those who have Saka, they may not want to double dip in the Arsenal attack, so I could definitely understand that. But if you're looking for a cheaper way into Arsenal's attack, Kai Havertz could be a differential that paves the way and proves to be fruitful. The two budget options are Visa and João Pedro. Visa coming at 6.1 million and João Pedro at 5.4. I bring this up because these two will also help facilitate another template for managers who are looking not only to go a big 3 in midfield, but a mega 4 now. And I'm not referring to like the KFC deals that are out there. So if you're looking for a way to have Kevin De Bruyne / Foden, and of course Salah, Saka, and Palmer, bringing in Pedro or even Visa might help facilitate this. They both are looking like budget buys, and for those who are looking to go the Mega 4, Visa has an extraordinary next 2 game weeks, and then Brentford's fixtures turn a little more difficult, but Visa seems to be at the spear now of Brentford's attack, and they have been in a lot of high-scoring games. So Visa coming at his price tag could be a budget buy, and then we see what João Pedro could do on his return and goal and assist. Massive returns versus Manchester City. He will be on penalties when he returns, but with Danny Welbeck taking the spotlight so far, we're not too sure where João Pedro will play, whether it be 10, whether it be on one of the wings. We're not 100% sure. We'll have to see how that shakes out, because remember, Rata and Matoma have also laid claim to their starting spot. So we're going to see how it all shakes out for the Seagulls, but João Pedro at 5.4, if you're looking for something really cheap, definitely seems to be a bargain. But right now, I'd rank Jackson as the best replacement, with Isak closely behind, although a lot of more managers are flocking towards Isak, with Visa and Pedro being the budget buys. And if you don't have Cunha, obviously add him to this list, but since I already have him, he will not be a solution for me. And now we enter the observations this week. This is just my thoughts on the different things that a lot of managers are pondering about this week. And firstly, it's Erling Haaland and managers moving away from the light blue master into another template. And my thoughts on this is that Haaland's next 6 fixtures read Tottenham, Liverpool, Forest, Crystal Palace, United, and Aston Villa. And the question I ask myself is, how many of these games will I captain Haaland compared to his other compatriots in midfield, whether it be Salah, Palmer, Saka, and Bueno, even Bruno, etc. And I can't see myself captaining him in the next 6 game weeks unless something drastically happens. So he was a sell for me. Who I'm going to move for, I'm not too sure yet. Like I said, it's going to be Jackson if I move now. And looking at the fixtures, it looks like it's going to be a Boxing Day return for Erling Haaland when City take on Everton and the batch of fixtures they have upcoming. However, with the return of Kevin De Bruyne, things are going to get better in Manchester City's attacking department. Their offense will start to light it up. So that is the one red flag in the back of my mind, that I'm wondering what could happen. And Spurs are not known for shutting out attackers, so we're definitely going to be playing with fire there. So Erling Haaland, for me, if you're going to sell, it's going to be now, because you'll have a 6-week window in which to do what you need to do before you need to bring him back in. If you take another week or 2, I don't think it's going to be optimal, as you'll try to rush to get him back in and you're going to have to pay minuses. So definitely want to keep in the back of your mind. Secondly, the new manager bounce for Manchester United. You know, they started to play a little more ball under Rude. Now that Ruben is in town, we definitely want to see what the Portuguese manager has in store. So will the attack stay hot? We saw Bruno, Garnacho all returning last game week, so we definitely want to see what happens and who starts, because we don't know exactly what the starting formation is going to look like, whether it's going to be Rashford, Garnacho, Bruno, Haaland, and all these different assets, Diallo, and all of these guys. So we want to see who is going to start. Another observation is Isak on the rise as managers flock to the Swedish striker. He's already had 2 price rises from 8.3 to 8.5 during the international break, so he's definitely gaining momentum and gaining popularity. So we expect to see a lot of Alexander Isaks come game week 12. Chris Wood is he about to cool as Forest fixtures tighten? We're seeing that Forest now is going to enter a period where they play tougher opposition. So will this mean more goals for Chris Wood, or will that opportunities tighten and the points start to slow down? So definitely going to keep an eye on that. Midfield 4, or the Mega 4, the new part, that is basically template moving now into Salah, Saka, Palmer, and another midfielder such as whether it be Bruno, Son, or one of the City boys. So we definitely keep an eye on that, as managers seem to be moving away from Haaland, coming down now into the festive season. And finally, will Son sting the champions again? Son has been a thorn in my boy's side for years now. He definitely loves playing City, so we're definitely looking out to see if he'll return again. You know, last season in one of the final games, he couldn't hit the back of the net in the title decider, as they say, but he played well, so definitely going to see if Son sting us again. And that concludes my observations for Game 12. And now the last piece of business is what are my planned transfers for this week. And right now, being at the time of recording, being Monday, I'm going to be moving on Semenyo and Haaland. I'm going to be bringing in Cole Palmer in midfield and Nico Jackson in attack. So we're bringing in the Chelsea duo. So we're looking to capitalize on Chelsea's great fixture run now into the festive season. And now this is the final segment of this week's episode. And of course, we're speaking about Captaincy Corner. Here's where I give you my best captaincy options for those who have a dilemma on who to put the armband on. And the number one pick this week should be no surprise. It's going to be Mo Salah of Liverpool. No international break. Welcome Southampton in Game Week 12. It's a perfect storm. 4 meets fixture. So Mo Salah being the number one captaincy option for Game Week 12. Second position, and in a close second position, we're not getting fooled by that small yellow triangle. It's going to be Cole Palmer versus Leicester. We know what Cole Palmer does versus the promoted teams. He's an absolute fiend when it comes to bringing points against the lesser teams in the league. And this is Leicester City. We expect a goal fest. Cole Palmer is going to be involved. He comes in at number 2. At number 3, it's going to be Bruno Fernandes. Ruben Almiron's first game in charge, Ipswich. I expect them to play very well in front of their new manager. Ipswich is going to be a fixture that I think every team is going to line up for goals. They have been conceding a lot of chances. Bruno being the main man for United, so he comes in the list at number 3. At number 4, we can't leave this guy off the list at all, so he comes in here at this position. I'm talking about Erling Haaland versus Tottenham. Bruno is at 3, but Kevin is back for Erling, so we don't know how that's going to play out. We know the high line from Postecoglou, and Dragusin should be in the lineup for Spurs, so definitely hoping that my boys could get the win. Erling Haaland at 4. And finally at number 5, the cheeky ball pick. This is not the 5th best pick, but this is the differential pick for those who are looking to go something very different that could prove big dividends, and it's going to be Isak / Jackson. For those who are going down one path or the other, I think if you bring in the striker, put the armband on him, it's going to be a big swing, but I don't think this is a week that you play cheeky football, especially with guys like Salah, Palmer, and even Bruno having great fixtures on paper. So the cheeky ball there being Isak Jackson. And that concludes the captaincy corner for Game Week 12. And that concludes this week's episode of Proper Things. I hope you all enjoyed listening. The episode is a little lengthier this week as we had a lot to cover, coming off the international break, a lot of information out there. Captaincy corner being very important with the fixtures this week. So if you enjoy the content, if you enjoy the picks, let me hear from you in the comment section. Even if you don't like it or have alternative picks, definitely want to hear from you. And while you're there, you could like the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's going to be a festive time, a busy time as the fantasy football and the fixtures come thick and fast. So we hope that we have you covered, and we expect to see big green arrows. And as always, don't forget to do proper things in all walks of life. I'll see you all next week.